So right now, I mean, we're coming up to essentially a 90-degree left-hander at 40 miles an hour. Ooh, chic grip. Hey guys, and welcome back. As the title would suggest, I did finally give in and buy some suspension upgrades for the C63. In the last autocross video, I flapped my gums about the fact that I'll just have to drive better and the suspension upgrade is very mild and will do me next to no good. But that 0.043 of a second that I lost by could have easily been corrected if I had slightly stiffer dampers. Now I had to do a whole bunch of research to do what I need to do on this car to stay, one, class legal, and two, actually get some sort of benefit. Okay, so here is what I bought, and what I actually bought is a whole complete cup kit with lowering springs. Now to stay class legal, we will not be installing stiffer and lower springs, and it's going to be kind of an anticlimactic suspension video because the car is going to sit exactly how it sits right now. So to be class legal, you cannot put aftermarket stiffer springs on the car. It has to be on its original springs. Dampers, you're free to do whatever you want. Now with the C63, the aftermarket is kind of small in the shock absorber department, solely because anybody that upgrades the suspension on these goes to coilovers, usually PSS 10s or the like, and nobody really messes with upgrading the shocks since the stock shocks are pretty good on it. So what I had to do was to find a very aggressive cup kit for a regular W204 C-Class. And that's the only way I could get upgraded shocks, because the slight upgrade shocks that they offer for these, if you get just shocks, does little to no difference from the research I could find. Now, before I get blown up in the comments saying that you can't put aftermarket aggressive shocks with stock springs, will ruin the handling of the car and everything else, like everybody on the internet's always an expert, I went down a whole rabbit hole to figure out what shocks I could use on this car that will actually work with the stock springs. And it led me to BMW forums where guys that run M3s with these exact shocks on their cars with OEM springs to stay in SCCA's street class. And that is the route I'm going with. That's what we're gonna have to do, and I hope it's a significant enough improvement, because during that last event, honestly, that's where I could have made time, is in like quick chicanes where the car would get unsettled. Now, I'm a big fan of Bilstein or Bilstein, whichever way you want to say it. I did the same upgrade on my Z06 Corvette, and it completely changed the way the car behaved. It made it so much easier to be on the limit with the car without having that snap oversteer. Now, I did buy these slightly different spring compressors than the usual you get at like an AutoZone or whatever. These are more robust and have really good reviews, so it'll be my first time using this style spring compressor. We'll see how that works out. Now, these did come with some sort of instructions, like we really need them, and then whatever this is in German. I guess it just says "Diese Scheiße ist Müll." I'm also going to change the oil on this car because it's overdue for an oil change, and I'm going to do the spark plugs because since I've had it for the last 4 or 5 years, I have not done the spark plugs on it. So I figured since all it's seeing is really aggressive driving, it'd be good to do the upgrade. Hopefully in the next couple of days I could find someone to do an alignment on this thing, because the next event is only a week away, and then the following event is a 2-day back-to-back event. So this car is going to see a lot of action. I want to keep it as refreshed as I possibly can, and hopefully bring home some wins. Let's move this around a little bit and get to it.
Living life, every day, late at night, not okay. All I want, and I pray, all I need are some better days. Fuck me, I'm looking in the mirror, so foggy, but I've never seen clearer. I don't really think anyone can save me, and honestly I'm not really sure I want saving. I like to be my own worst enemy. There's no risk if you don't try at anything, so I'ma just keep buying everything. See you in the next life, have to be a better me. I don't think that my head's on straight, gotta flip it and grip it and go and get an x-ray. What's wrong with me? I just feel weight pushing on my chest and it squeezes till I suffocate. Better change my mindset, meditate. It's pretty cool that I'm alive and have better days. I could walk, see, hear, I should celebrate. Think I could change my mind, maybe elevate. Living life, everyday, late at night, not okay. All I want, and I pray, all I need are some better days. Yeah, all I need are some better days. Cause all I want, and I pray, I believe in the better days. I'm kinda stuck between a rock and a hard place. Do I work hard or live at my pace? You're only young once, yeah that's all great, but I also want a future where I'm okay. Living life is doing lots of cocaine. Wait no, it's living with no shame. Wait no, it's sleeping in on Sundays. I guess it's different for each of us and that's okay. Well I just wanna be happy, how to get there? Glad that you asked me. I think it's different for everyone. Some of us need work, others need fun. Some of us need purpose to overcome. But try to do what you love when it's said and done. Cause there's so many differences in each of us. Trust your gut, it can show you what you want. Living life, everyday, late at night, not okay. All I want, and I pray, all I need are some better days. Yeah, all I need are some better days. Cause all I want, and I pray, I believe in the better days. Living life, everyday, late at night, not okay. All I want, and I pray, all I need are some better days.
Well, that's all she wrote for the suspension. Nothing complex, nothing special to install this, just time consuming, and obviously it had to cost me a finger and a forearm because it wouldn't be a day without it. But it's all good, it's all on. Now I just gotta do the spark plugs and oil change and then wash it. But obviously our weather's not the greatest. Jesus Christ, I got dirty. For as new of a car as this is, really got me dirty. So with the suspension out of the way, now we can focus on the engine. So I'm gonna knock out these spark plugs, but first I'm gonna do this oil change real quick. So the suspension's on, the spark plugs are changed, which was actually surprisingly easy. I expected some kind of a curveball by Mercedes. They didn't look too bad, but I've seen worse, I've seen better. I didn't know when they were last done. I figured it would be a good idea to get them changed out. The car is washed and it very much needed it. It probably doesn't show in video, but it did a lot of daily driving duties, which is unusual for this car to do. The reason for that is going to be in the next video, so stay tuned for that. But I hope that these suspension upgrades that I did are going to be enough. So far in this short drive test drive I did, the suspension feels a little bit firmer, but it's not too bad on just like over bumps. I don't think it was compromised by much. I did notice that the side to side has gotten better, and I think honestly it is so much more controlled than it was before. I think that was this car's Achilles heel, especially at something like autocross, was these quick changes back and forth from left to right, slaloms, chicanes, things like that, is where I fought it the most, because it tended to be a very floaty and not want to dart from one direction to the other without a fight, and I would lose time spinning wheels and whatnot. And I think honestly at the last autocross, that's what lost it for me. I had a lot of steering angle that I had to put in to get the car to transition from left to right. So right now, I mean, we're coming up to essentially a 90-degree left-hander at 40 miles an hour. Ooh, she gripped. Yeah, that front end is so much more bitey than it was before. So it's definitely an improvement. I'm very happy with that. I'm happy that I managed to do suspension in a way where I didn't have to disturb the alignment. Obviously, ride height didn't change because it's on stock springs, so I don't have to do an alignment. I probably still will in the future, just for good measure, and because I'm running expensive tires and I've never aligned this car. It probably wouldn't be a bad idea, but honestly, so far, I'm feeling pretty happy and confident. The next event is only in a handful of days, so I just got to get my stuff together and hopefully do some damage. Once again, thank you for watching. Please comment, like, subscribe, and all that good stuff that every YouTuber tells you to do. And we'll see you guys next week. Thanks again.